Aloha, y'all. It's been a hot minute since I've done these. I took a little break. It is the first of the month, Rabbit, January 1st of a new year, Gregorian style, 21st, Jan- uh, 2021. What am I saying? So, let's go ahead and pull some cards and stuff. It is January 1st. It is a solar plexus chakra day, white overtone mirror guided by death, according to the Mayan dream spell. But it is a Manipura day, a solar plexus chakra day, which is about the fire of your willpower, essentially. Do the mantras, do the mudras. You will find great magic happening when you do these things. Ram is the mantra. The mudra is your hand position like this, kind of at your solar plexus. Do the stuff. You will be make it a new habit. You got Capricorn season and also New Year to make new habits, right? The sun is in Capricorn. The moon is in Leo. Mercury is also in Capricorn. Venus is in Sagittarius. Mars is in Aries. Jupiter and Saturn are in Aquarius, still in conjunction technically. Uranus is in Taurus, retrograde. Neptune's in Pisces, and Pluto is in Capricorn. Mars is about to get out of shadow period and go into Taurus soon. That should be interesting. So let's go ahead and pull some cards, play some music, etc. Hopefully you all are doing well. These holidays have been interesting. A lot of energies, a lot of goings on. A lot of good developments, though, for myself. Like my fiance and I are doing well. Kaipacha Lesher and Leo King are going to be coming on the podcast. In, I think, a day or two, Christopher Witecki's coming on. Should be great stuff. So a lot of good things are happening for me. But at the same time, COVID's still doing weird shit. And it's cold as fuck. In Colorado, there's a foot of snow and it's below freezing, so that's not melting. That kind of stuff. So hopefully you all are doing well. Type in where you're watching from and how you're doing. Got the Queen of Swords for the first card of this new year, Gregorian style. So swords are about the mind, right? So Geminis, Libras, or Aquarius will naturally resonate with this suit. And the Queen is the watery, the feminine, intuitive and receptive force of the air, in this sense, the mind, right? So Queen of Swords, the watery part of air. Use the power of nature to enhance your lifestyle. A brilliant mind, penetrating intelligence, serving a noble cause, and well articulated and outspoken, a wise guide. The Queen of Swords, I serve a noble cause. In mythology, the Queen of Swords was often rather simplistically conceived of as, quote, an ice queen. This highly intelligent, forthright, and principled woman is tied to performing her duties and obligations as a monarch. She is not afraid for heads to roll when she needs to protect her own or her kingdom's interests, but the dark tears symbolize the sadness she bears as a consequence, for she is no lover of execution and death. To live in integrity, she would far rather build alliances with her adversaries than use brute force. She is dressed here in a Starman samurai kimono. It represents her self-discipline, courage, independence, honor, and willingness to serve her kingdom no matter what. As head of state, she offers excellent counsel and constructive criticism with a piercing intelligence and well-earned wisdom. Here, she handles the sacred medicinal plants which have co-evolved with human beings for millennia. We use them for healing and guidance as part of spiritual practices. We eat plants, drink their juices, ferment and distill libations from them. We consume them in 1,000 forms. While some are toxic, like the berries of nightshade, holly, and dogwood, many have proved extraordinarily valuable. Evidence of the use of herbal remedies, for example, goes back 60,000 years to a burial site in Iraq. Today, the majority of the world's population, an estimated 5 billion people, use folk medicine for both acute and chronic health conditions. This is on page 88, I might also say. The Queen's medicinal journeying enables her to cleanse herself of toxic thoughts and experiences, a form of spiritual cleansing to restore the mind and body connection, head with heart. Self-sufficient and perhaps a perfectionist, she is phenomenally capable, knowledgeable, and engaging with a brilliant intellect able to penetrate into the source of a problem, whether the domain is personal, political, or corporate. Her keen intelligence quickly strips away what's not important, accurately reflecting the facts and uncovering priorities and values in the process. She uses her own experience to help illustrate and unmask self-defeating patterns, understanding deeply on all levels the importance of a stitch in time to save nine. Very Capricorn, very much like let's accomplish this shit and use our heads about it. She applies this rigorous effectiveness with her own children, regarding it as her maternal duty to see her children grow up to be well-rounded, cultured, and highly educated, ethical adults. Not always the warmest of mothers due to the heavy burdens of duty, she does bring her compassion and deep understanding to the vicissitudes and trials of life. The Queen of Swords is deeply committed to them, contributing to their gifts and talents effectively and making a difference in the world. So the Queen of Swords today, the watery part of air, using the power of nature to enhance your lifestyle. Hydrate, kids. A brilliant mind, penetrating intelligence, serving a noble cause, well-articulated and outspoken, and a wise guide. And like I said, the Sun is and Mercury are in Capricorn, so we have this ability to really tap into high levels of articulation. Achievement is all about what Capricorn's about. So communicating in an achieved way. Queen energy, right? If you want to put it that way. So the top of the pyramid, and saying the right thing at the right time for the kingdom's sake, for everybody's sake. Right? That's kind of what we're feeling today. So Queen of Wands, and it's funny. It's talked about Ice Queen. It's very cold where I am in Colorado, so that resonates for me on a personal level. And the other night when it was a full moon in Cancer, a few nights ago, I went outside and was looking at Luna, and I heard, I was hooting actually at them, and one flew away. I heard a few owls. So owls coming in hot with the Athena resonance of wisdom. Let's go ahead and get some clarifying cards, shall we? Dreams of Gaia. Was gifted this deck, and it's a really great deck, one I love using. So let's see what we can get in terms of a clarification. Oh, almost dropped it. Clarification energy. And we have the drum roll, please. The Seven of Air. Very air, a lot of sword energy. Haley, my fiance, was pulling a bunch of swords for herself. So today, and I got a Zeta Reticuli card for my Galactic Heritage card, which will be the next card I pull for all of us. Very mental. I think we're in our heads right now, right? With Capricorn and Sun in Mercury. Mercury and the Sun in Capricorn. I think I said that right. I'm still trying to wake up. I woke up at 4 a.m. and been all fucked up. We're probably trying to make plans, try to like kick ass, take names, make a life that we want to be a part of. Be like, this is my year, that kind of energy, which is fine. But we're maybe doing it in a mental way, right? We're like, I'm going to plot and plan and cut and paste and make it work. This is about spirituality, religion, politics, personal dogma, atheism, fundamentalism, indoctrination, and kindness. Key phrases is not what we believe, but how we believe. Lifting others up. Does what you believe make you kinder? With the South Node in Sagittarius and the North Node in Gemini, we have this ability to be like, are we having fun, North Node in Gemini, with our ideas? Or are we being dogmatic and beating people over the head with our ideas? Because if we're doing that, it's not a good look. Are you willing to lose another for your beliefs? There are many ways, not just your way, right? South Node and Sag. Educate, don't indoctrinate. Seek a kind approach and moderate fundamentalist beliefs. The Seven of Air symbolizes the realm of spiritual belief, religious practice, and personal dogma, and the influence they have upon how we perceive the world around us. Spiritual belief can make our lives feel complete, make us healthier, happier, kinder, and more compassionate people, and yet it can also place us at odds with others and start wars. Mars and Aries, right? Where it's like, well, I'll fight you for this. Venus in Sagittarius, right? Where it's like, I want to know the truth, and it feels good to tell you my truth. And I know, that kind of energy. It can bring peace and a healthy sense of well-being, or it can literally place you in harm's way and tear your world and life to pieces. Spiritual belief in the form of religion has throughout the centuries been one of the root causes of almost all human conflict, and it is still one of the leading causes of bloodshed in our modern world. And I should say, North Node's where we should be going karmically. It's right between my Sun and Moon right now. It's in Gemini, like smack in the middle in terms of the degree between my personal Sun and Moon. And then the South Node, which is where we've been and where we should not be going. The lessons wrapping up, don't go back there, is in Sag. So it's like, this is not a time to run around and have a crusade. And there's a lot of truthers out there for, left and right and every other direction. And that's not what we should be doing. It's going to cause a lot more turmoil, a lot more pain if we try to run around stabbing people with our sword of truth. What we need to be doing is saying, let's talk about it, Gemini North Node. Let's ask questions. I don't know, playfully, and be like, let's just imagine, right? And brainstorm. There are many who subscribe to the belief that embracing a spiritual path is different to following one of many organized religions, right? So New Age people are like, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual, that kind of person. But consider this, whether you subscribe to a religion or have a more organic spiritual ideology or even subscribe to atheism, all involve following a personal dogma that can be orthodox and rigid or expansive and accepting. To believe in a religion, to embrace a spiritual path, or none at all, is no different, ultimately, energetically, than believing that one political party is better than another, or that a vegan diet is better than one that includes meat and animal products. And as a vegan, I don't try to proselytize. I'm just like, this is my choice, right? Um, or that your favorite sports team is the best sports team. All forms of belief can lead to peace and a healthy sense of well-being, or to extreme and fundamentalist behavior. All paths can be born of independent knowledge and understanding, indoctrination, or a mix of both. Each choice, even the choice not to believe in the divine, requires that you believe in something, even if that something is the belief that in anything is that a belief in anything other than our physical reality is a symptom of a deranged mind. It reminds me of the Rush lyric: "If you choose not to believe, you still have made a choice." Right? The seven of error reminds us that all personal dogma and spiritual dogma can give rise to an open mind or a closed one to varying degrees. Each path contains core beliefs that won't be changed or cannot be changed, right? Once again, this kind of ice queen who's like, I know, and fuck you, like at worst, right? How does what you believe on a spiritual level influence your thoughts, feelings, and actions? Because belief creates reality at that level, right? Does it make you kinder? Are you moving towards love? Or, I'm losing my place like crazy today. Does it make you kinder and more understanding of those who are different? Or does it inspire a feeling of superiority, that you are, quote, right, and that your way is the only way? South Node and Sag. And Venus and Sag. Does your spiritual path inspire you to lift people up and brighten their day? Or does it inspire you to think less of others or pity them because their ignorance damns them to some imagined hell or purgatory? And I tend to even do that sometimes when I get in fights with my brother and stuff about ontological presuppositions. I'm like, it's your karma, man. And it's like a pity kind of where I'm like, you'll see, right? Like one day you'll get it. And it's like, that's even an ego trip at a level. Got to be careful with that. What are we willing to give up to lose because of how and what you believe in? What does your spiritual path or personal dogma bring into your life? The seven of error symbolizes an opportunity to look closely at how your personal spiritual beliefs and personal dogma influence your thoughts and behaviors, and to contemplate whether they serve to make you a better person or to make you more critical and rigid, right? And with the Queen of Swords as the card of the day, it's like criticality and rigidness are part of the game sometimes. Like with some Capricorn right now with Pluto conjunct, not exactly right now, but conjunct basically Mercury. We're getting into a closer conjunction. And the Sun in Capricorn is like, I want the best ideas, and I don't want piddle, and I'm not settling for conspiracy theories that don't make sense, and I'm not, all this kind of energy, right? So we got to be more gracious. Though the energy, especially on the first day of a new year, can be like, I want to win, I want to kick ass this year, and but a real place is to be like, are we being humble in our minds and knowing that we don't know everything? The one crazy thing about North Node and Gemini, and being a Gemini myself, where this is basically energetically at, is like, know that you don't know shit. Right? It's kind of the idea. But the Queen of Swords is like, I know and I want to govern. And then the Seven of Swords is saying, are you governing from a place of self-righteousness or compassion, ultimately? So let's get a Galactic Heritage card. I'm surprised this is working. I shouldn't jinx myself. The reason I hadn't been going live on Facebook is because my phone and Facebook kept crashing every time I tried to do this. So far, so good. If you're digging this, like it, tag friends that you think might benefit. If you like the tune I play, leave something in the tip jar, kind of thing. So, and I am always curious as to where people are when, I am a fucking Gemini, double Gemini. Where are you watching from? How you doing? Self-discipline. Oh, man, you guys can't make this shit up, right? All this Capricorn energy is about discipline. Saturn ruled Capricorn. And this Queen of Swords is like, I will rule, and heads will roll if I have to be disciplinarian. And this is saying, are you coming from a place of self-righteousness with your discipline rules? Or are you coming from a place of like actually helping yourself and others through those disciplines? So this is a Vega timeline. Number 24. 24 and there's so much more, as Neil Young would say. So Vega, self-discipline present timeline, 24. The profound nature of Vegan mysticism came from their intense self-discipline. Capricorn Sun. It's like, and I've been doing workouts and stuff, and I'll continue to do them as resolutions from last month. But it's not, stepping up to the plate takes discipline, right? Practicing scales on an instrument, learning things about the guests on a podcast, right? Learning how to communicate with a partner well, and not just presume they, are in your head or whatever. As an example, you see this now in martial arts or meditative practices. Spiritual skills do not develop without this self-discipline and devoted practice. Karmically, many humans now either resist discipline or crave it because of their ancient experiences. What is your pattern? Know that self-discipline is a vital part of spiritual growth, but too much of it creates rigidity, right? And the rigidity we're talking about is this kind of Queen of Swords, right? Where it's like my way or the highway. And it's like, is that the best way to do it? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Seven of the clarifier, the seven of errors, being like, make sure you're not just being a bitch, or whatever the male equivalent would be. And I'm not trying to be derogatory. You kind of get my point, though. What is your pattern? Know that self-discipline is vital for spiritual growth, but too much of it creates rigidity, like Circe, kind of, right? It is important to find the middle ground and use discipline as a tool to further your growth without it becoming a hindrance. Probably the best pop culture reference to help people understand the nature of the ancient Vegan people is that of Mr. Spock from Star Trek. And Ice King, maybe, right? Ice Queen is like, I have no feelings and it's highly logical and I'm going to make the right choices and stuff. And it's like, that's what Spock is doing. In that famous TV show, the Vulcan race was known for its intense self-discipline to control emotion. The Vegans had similar commitments to not only self-discipline in order to work with emotions, but also to evolve spiritually, manifest in what they needed in the world, and organize their society. This trait can be both positive and negative. That's exactly what the Seven of Air was saying. It can be used for either. And we just have to keep it real, as Dave Chappelle's show, the Chappelle Show would say. Are you keeping it real, like, to the hindrance of your life and others' lives? It can be either positive or negative. In the positive sense, it can lead you to the heights of spiritual advancement and enlightenment. Capricorn, Sun and Mercury, right? Where you're just like, I'm accomplishing through transformation, Capricorn and Pluto. It's like, I'm really making changes here. And it's the heights of spiritual advancement and enlightenment. But in a negative sense, it can lead to self-sacrifice and even the control of others, which played out in the descendants of the Vegans, who are the Orions. If you receive this card during your reading, you must look at your life and situation and the other cards to truly see the perspective the cards are showing you. Do you need more self-discipline in life and spiritual development? Like, are you just like flabby spiritually or physically or emotionally and you just like need to like tighten it up? Or do you need to like loosen your grip, Captain Von Trapp, and not just like blow whistles to your kids and like love them a little? Do you resist the concept of self-discipline, or do you use it to punish yourself? Examining all of these factors and more will help you see how this message can be a card and this card can be applied to your life, right? So we all have to kind of do some soul searching. I think that's what New Year's resolutions are about. It's like, are you making resolutions just to like make rules and be hard on yourself? Or are you trying to like actually advance for the benefit of yourself and others? Self-discipline and, having rules is a beautiful thing, but ultimately, don't be a fascist, like have some fun, but then don't be like, all play and no work. Like the grasshopper and the ant, it's like, he starved during winter because he didn't take it seriously. So it's this balance, this middle path. Let's go ahead and get an oracle card from the animal deck, Divine Animals. Actually, it's hard sometimes when two pop and I'm like, the one that I touched or the one that's looking like it popped. So I changed gears kind of here. So this is the goat. You can't make this shit up. Capricorn Sun vibes all day, right? And this is about sternness, right? This is about reliability, the goat. So, number 19. Whoa, I'm holding this upside down. I feel like Luna Lovegood. Number 19, the goat. Very Capricornian energy. Cap season, page 77. So the goat, reliability. Is your word reliable? And can you be counted upon? I'm having to learn this myself. I'm so wishy-washy with all my placements, and I have to own that. But like being impeccable with your word is a big deal. Trust me, I'm learning that the hard way. Make your way successfully, step by step, steady as she goes. Especially with like self-discipline, right? And what's the word? Resolutions, New Year's resolutions. Nourish yourself, right, Haley? That's a card she found today for herself. Nourish yourself. We should climb mountains and not carry mountains. Mythos. We learn about Tagnir and Tognostur, the goats who pulled the god Thor's chariots, in the stories of the Poetic Edda, compiled in the 13th century from earlier traditional sources, and the Prose Edda, written by Snorri Sturluson in the 13th century. Following is but one story of the goats and the thunder god. And I believe... Oh, it's Friday. It's Freya's day. I was like, is today Thursday? I'm so out of it. I haven't been doing these for a while. Anyway. Thor and Loki were once traveling together for the purpose of troll hunting. They were traveling upon the chariot pulled by Thor's two ferocious goats, Tagnir and Tognostur. They drew to a close, and the two gods sought shelter at a farmhouse. The peasant family who lived there was shocked to see the two gods, but obviously welcomed them to their humble abode. Thor's goats were magical and were able to be killed for food by Thor's hammer, Mjolnir. And then at dawn the next day, they would return to living by the blessing of the same hammer. So Thor always had a reliable source of food with him. He told the peasants that they could share this meal of the magical goats, North Node and Gemini. It's like, let's share. I'll share with you, others, myself, the twins. But they were not to split the bones in any way, as the bones were needed to be unharmed so the goats could successfully regenerate at first light. Kind of stern Saturnian rules, Sun and Mercury and Capricorn, which is the goat. The humans agreed to this and enjoyed the meal provided by Thor, but Thialfi, the son of the farmer, could not resist secretly cracking one of the leg bones open to suck some of the delicious marrow, some of the best eating of the goat could be had. Dawn came, and Thor laid out the bones upon the skin so they could reassemble magically into the living Tangsnir and Tognoster. However, Thor noticed one of the goats had a lame leg. Thor became very angry, Mars and Aries, knowing that someone had cracked one of the bones when they had given their word to the contrary. Frightened by the god's anger, Thialfi admitted his guilt and offered himself and his sister to the god as his servants. Thor quieted his anger and agreed, and this is how one of Thor's goats became lame, but still remained powerful and steady. The animal. While we may not be sure what kind of goats pulled Thor's chariot, many of the symbols and descriptions are reminiscent of either endemic mountain goats or hardy domesticated mountain goats. The mountain goat in the traditional Norse lands are magnificent creatures, well-furred, sure-footed, and mightily horned. Goats have been providers of skin, milk, cheese, meat, drinking horns, and building materials, and they were one of the first animals to be domesticated by man. As such, they were and are well loved by humans as domestic animals, and now there are over 200 species of goats. The magic, goat magic. Goat magic, and specifically the magic of Thor's mountain goat, is one of reliability and sure-footedness. The goats are remarkably athletic and agile on the mountainsides and difficult terrain. They are robust creatures able to withstand the cold or rough environments and are available to all people, rich or poor. Call upon goat energy when you need stability and balance in precarious situations, or when you need nourishment after a period of scarcity. Symbologies: horns, bones, sure-footedness, thunder, a chariot pulled by goats. Status is of least concern. There are a shit ton of goats. They're not going to be extinct anytime soon. So the goat, once again, kind of the stern energy, mental energy, both with the Seven of Air and the Queen of Swords of the Day's card. It's about self-discipline, right? Discipline. It's like, hey, don't eat that. And he didn't have self-discipline, so he cracked the bone marrow and ate it, and then the whole shit show happened, right? But we need to be reliable in our word and deed, right? This is what Buddha was talking about in terms of right action. That creates reliability. And with Capricorn season and this year, really, folks, it's about being not only authentic, but it's ultimately about being righteous. I mean, that's a strong word, and I know it's got a lot of baggage with religiosity and all that kind of stuff, but it's like, yo, don't be, as a double Gemini, it's like trickster times. Even though the North Node is in Gemini, it's about being like a righteous trickster, if that makes any sense. It's not about being Loki right now, chaos. It's about kind of organizing and building a world we want to be in. And if we want politicians to be honest, and if we want, people to live their best lives, we ourselves have to do that. It's just, be the change kind of thing. So I think this year is going to be a real strong year of people. I mean, this is a weird prediction, but it's like people are going to realize what they're actually made out of more and more, and you have a chance at all times to program and engineer who you are through your actions, what you believe, what you focus your attention on, your thoughts, your heart, energy, your inner child. Remain in light, as the Talking Heads would say. Get in the light. Not everybody's all light. You have light and dark, right? This balance, but like self-discipline isn't a bad word. For most of my life, I've been like, fuck working out. And now I'm like doing these little challenges, 30-day challenges, and it's not like I'm going to the gym or anything crazy. I'm just doing push-ups, crunches, planking, and what else am I doing? Squats. But it's making my temple more reliable, essentially. The goat, right? So we've got Yayoi Kusama, and this is interesting because she's kind of it's a very Aquarian energy, which is kind of Queen of Swords. Check it out. She's kind of living in a mental institution that she's like being responsible. She's like, you know what, commit me, but I'll do my art from there. Now octogenarian Yayoi Kusama voluntarily lives in a mental institution in Japan where she draws upon her visions and hallucinations for inspiration. Among the recurring elements of Kusama's work are polka dots, which she describes as the shape that makes us humans, composed of particles. She's very quantum about this, I guess. And unites us with the earth and the sun. So circles within circles, very Nassim Haramein. This, Kusama's infinity rooms are mirrored artistic chambers that multiply bodies and alter perceptions. Over her long, prolific career, and Capricorn with the Sun and Mercury, and this reliability, self-discipline, octogenarian, she's old. It's like time and diligence have played a part in her story. Over her long, prolific career, Kusama has led the avant-garde with bold happenings, big ideas, and bright wigs. So the advice we're getting from Yayoi Kusama is distinguish yourself from your mirror image. With the North Node in Gemini, the twin, the mirror image, we need to know both of our sides and other people's selves and distinguish, use discernment, the Queen of Swords, to kind of cut through, right? It's like, am I talking the talk and not walking the path? Am I expecting things of others that I don't do myself? Seven of Air. Hypocrisy is human, right? Am I being too overly disciplinarian? Am I being under self-disciplined, right? Those kinds of things. Ultimately, we need to be reliable. And it's okay as humans, we're kind of like this malleable, fickle thing that's like kind of going through time, space, or whatever. But we want to kind of keep form so that we know what we're working with and others know what we're working with. And that makes the whole dream more if everyone's playing the rules of the game, and so to speak, like the game feels more fun. But if it's Wild West and some people are playing basketball and some people are playing hopscotch and some people are, twiddling their thumbs, it's like it's beautiful in a weird abstract way, but at the same time it's not congruent, right? Even though it's all in harmony. So Yayoi Kusama is saying, distinguish yourself from your mirror image. Not just your mental image of yourself and the mental expectations of others. We're like, well, America means freedom, so what does freedom mean? And I'm going to push it, right? It's like you want to kind of look at the situation objectively and ultimately be willing to make changes. Form the clay. You are forming your clay of your life constantly, and you want to be a reliable potter in your own life, right? So distinguish yourself from your mirror image. Your mirror image is sometimes your ego. It's like how you think about yourself. It's maybe not what is actually happening. And we need these projections to function at some level, but at the same time, don't get caught up in thinking that's who you are. If you have seen the movie Soul, which is amazing on Disney Plus, you should watch it. It kind of gets into that. Copper. Copper is our stone card, or crystal. This is metal technically. You can quantumly entangle with copper. It looks pretty rad. What it is, if you're thinking, but copper isn't a crystal, indeed you are a genius. Copper is a metal, but it's such a powerful energy conductor and component of so many of your favorite stones. Chrysocolla, malachite, turquoise. It has to make the cut. Who needs it? Anyone who needs the proverbial defibrillator paddles. Where to put it? With your epic crystal collection, copper intensifies the potency of most stones, clearing the channels of communication between you and your mineral friends. And when to use it? When it's time to pack an old idea of who you are and ship it out for good, move on, renewed with copper, right? We're doing that with this New Year's. We're trying to distinguish ourselves from our mirror image, our mental image of ourselves, our residual image in the matrix. It's like that's not who he actually is, it's who he thinks he is and represents himself in the matrix, right? So, mineral, exactly. So copper is about energizing your whole world. And I think we have the ability to do that with the Queen of Swords, to cut out the bullshit, to be real with ourselves, hopefully in a watery, right, the air of water, in a way that's nurturing to ourselves and others, not just cold, hard. Capricorn can be very brittle, Saturnian, but being real, keeping it real with ourselves. And if we're keeping it real on the inside, as within, so without, it'll reflect. Having self-discipline isn't a bad word, right? It's not something to avoid, but you don't want to obsess with it to the point where that's all you do, and you're just obsessed with your diet, you're obsessed with your workout, you're obsessed with your career. Self-discipline and reliability are good, but there's a type of reliability that's nourishing and soft to yourself. It's not always just about being a hard ass. But then a lot of people in this, world now, myself included, hit the easy button. They're like, I just want it easy, and that's, going to create a very different kind of reliability of reality than not. Keep it real with yourself. Look at your mirror image, right? Distinguish yourself from your mirror image, your residual self, and energize your whole world with copper. She's conducting high levels of mentality. You can conduct with copper. It's a conductor. So emphasizing more. How do you like it? Let's go ahead and play some music. I haven't jammed for y'all in a while, so hopefully this all works, because, technical difficulties, I'm famous for them at this point. I feel. We were having Jamie Janover on the other day on the podcast. He's kind of a cool guy, Nissim Harriman's right-hand man, and musician, dulcimer player, drummer. And that was like the third attempt at the podcast because we kept having to reschedule. So, let me get my guitar. things. We have the Queen of Swords with the Seven of Air, very mental energy being expressed. Right? So let's try to get something intellectual going. guys get the idea. So, Queen of Swords. Kind of cool, aloof, mental kind of energy, right? Where it's like, yo, hey, I'm chic. I'm on it. I'm mentally on it, right? So, and with the Capricorn, Sun, and Mercury, it's about achievement. It's about really getting things done. Not kind of pussyfooting, having some self-discipline, right? So get out there, use your head, make it happen, create the world you want to see, right? But be real. Like, don't just be like saying principles and not living them, and don't be expecting things of others that you don't do yourself. It happens. Humans are hypocrites. Shit happens, right? Don't sweat too much. But at the end of the day, Queen of Swords is saying, own the kingdom, but don't be a bitch. Do what you got to do, but don't like kill your own kids, right? And make sure you're kind of being judicious to the point where you're giving what you do unto others kind of energy, right? Self-discipline isn't a bad word. Don't take it too seriously. Why so serious kind of energy. And at the same time, being too loose is a problem. Like, you don't want to just be a Peter Pan syndrome Robin Williams who never gets things done. Robin Williams was great, but he showed up to work. He didn't just snort coke all the time, if you know what I mean. So be reliable in your word and deed, ultimately, knowing that your mirror image is not you. Distinguish yourself from your ego conception of you, though your ego, your mentality, your mind is what you're operating through to become more of yourself in the journey. It's a paradox, I know. And taming the ego is kind of what we're here to do. Finding a way to be reliable with yourself through others and all that jazz. Kind of get what I'm saying. Energize your whole world, though, with the copper, knowing that you can conduct quite a bit of change through your mind and make it actionable through self-discipline, reliability, right? And not bullshitting yourself or others, ultimately. Very Capricorn, grounded energy. So hopefully that makes sense. Holler for readings if you want. I love giving them. People love getting them. And the podcast is great. Like I said, we've got some great people lined up. Christopher Otecki, I think, is our next guest. We just had Jamie Jane over, so check that out. A Team Rabbit Hole podcast. We're at that was our 200. We're at 201 episodes now, so crushing. And ultimately, enjoy your beautiful Freya's day, and try to be both, your own disciplinarian, but like one that's coming from a place of wisdom and not just principle, if that makes sense. Don't be so hard that you crush others, but don't be so loose that nothing gets built, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. And as the Vulcans would say, it was referencing Spock with the Queen of Swords, or maybe one of the other cards, self-discipline, Vega, live long and prosper, Vulcan, right? Have a good day and Happy New Year. We're here at 21. Let's do it. Bye.